Guys, we are going to blow your minds with this podcast today. We're going to talk about water, of all things, in ways that you've never even thought about water before. This was really, truly one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. We have a really special guest with us, Creed Hendrickson. You're not going to want to miss this. It is going to be one of our most engaging episodes yet, and I hope you feel the same way. Tune in. Welcome to the Tied to the Land podcast, presented by Acres, a platform for up-to-date data, mapping, market intel, and portfolio management. This show explores the connection people have with the land, the work it takes to care for it, and the legacies that are built on it. We dive deep into the stories and experiences that make that connection so meaningful. Whether you hunt, farm, ranch, or simply enjoy the outdoors, this podcast is for you. What's going on, guys? My name is Andrew Schultz, and this is the Tied to the Land podcast. Super excited to be talking with Creed Hendrickson today. Creed's a Tulsa guy. He's got a super interesting story, awesome upbringing. He's doing some exciting things in the business world and doing some exciting things with the water, and we're going to get into all that today. So, Creed, how's it going, man?
Pretty great. Excited to be here. Just love talking anything outdoor recreation. For me, it's mostly water. I'm a triathlete, but I'm also a sailor, swimmer, kind of all the above. So excited just to talk outdoors, land, outdoor recreation, whatever.
Did you tell me that you were a triathlete?
I don't know that we talked about that last time.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm training for Ironman Texas, which is in April.
That's awesome.
2026. So be a full Ironman down there. So it takes up a lot of time, but it's fun. I really enjoy it.
Have you done an Ironman before?
I've done halves.
Okay.
So in the Ironman world, you can't say that you're an Ironman until you've done a full.
Yes.
If you do a half, they're like, no, you have to say Ironman 70.3. So I'm an Ironman 70.3, just to clarify.
So you're like an Iron Boy.
Yes. Yeah. I will have my full coming of age, hopefully, in April of 2026. So I'm excited for it.
That's super exciting. Yeah. That's awesome. Do they live stream those events?
They do live stream for the pros. I'm not a pro. They're about 6 hours ahead of me. Wow. Typically on their pace.
Okay.
And so they'll live stream some of the pros, and then everybody else, you're a dot on an app.
Yeah.
And so my wife will follow me on the phone.
Okay.
She'll be there in person, but most of it, she'll just kind of be tracking my pace and how I'm doing.
That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. How long have you been training for it?
I'm doing a 20-week training program, so it started in December.
Okay.
So it's about an hour to 2 hours a day for about 5 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Are you getting any live water experience right now? Any cold plunges?
No, not yet. No, it's just in the pool.
Yeah.
I train at a 25-yard pool, so you feel a little bit like a ping pong or a pool ball. Just ding, 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 back and forth for a little over an hour at a time. So
that's cool. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you. That's great. I didn't know that about you, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
So, man, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I don't need you to hear your whole life story all at once, but you know, why you're in here today, why we're talking, anything about you that you want to share with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Born and raised in Oklahoma. My wife and I are both born and raised down in Oklahoma City, lived here most of our lives. Met in elementary, and so she and I have kind of been sweethearts for most of our lives right now, which has been a blessing. She and I got married a little over 6 years ago. And then about 4 years ago, she got into Oklahoma State's medical school here in Tulsa.
Awesome.
So moved into the Tulsa area. Have truly loved being here in the area. And one of my passions for most of my life has been outdoor recreation. And we grew up in Oklahoma City, which is not really known for that. It's a little flatter down there. Love it. Lots of family down there. But Tulsa's a little hillier. They call it green country. Mm-hmm. It's just a great area to be. A lot more bodies of water, rivers, lakes, more bike trails and things like that. So we've just loved living here in the area. She's loaded down with all kinds of things for med school. She's amazing, getting in there and getting after it. That's left me with a good amount of free time.
Yeah.
And so I did not want to simply get to the end of med school and be like, I watched a lot of TV, played a bunch of video games.
Right.
So started just looking in the outdoor recreation world and, hey, I love it. We live in Tulsa. There's some great opportunities to do things in the outdoor recreation space. And started realizing there's some interesting problems around water. And I was like, wow, I think there could be a business opportunity here. But, happy to get into that more later. But
sure.
a lot of the outdoor recreation for me also stemmed from my upbringing. I have 10 siblings, same mom, same dad, and no twins.
Wow.
And then my mom has 9 siblings. And so I've got almost 80 first cousins on my mom's side. And so with that many people, all you can do is spend time outside.
Yeah.
So growing up,
you're not hanging in the house.
no, it's like there actually is no room in the house. And so growing up, when it was vacation, we would go to Colorado because letting your kids loose on the mountain is free. And so that's a lot cheaper than going to Disney World or anywhere else. So 70 plus of us first cousins would just kind of roam around Breckenridge, Colorado, and a couple other locations and just spend time outside. It's where we've always defaulted to. Same for my siblings. All of us grew up camping. My dad hated camping, but he would take all of us once a year just to kind of give my mom a break.
I don't know if I would like camping if I had to bring 11 kids also, man.
Yes.
I'm sure he's an amazing man.
He is, yeah. My dad, Tim's a great guy. So he had one sister, and she never married, had never had any kids, and he had 1 or 2 first cousins. And then he marries into a family of 10 people total, my mom being the oldest. And then he has 11 kids, 6 of them being boys. And I think he had 1 male cousin and never had any brothers. So, yeah, my dad's an amazing person. He's just learned how to develop and grow men. So
I'm assuming your parents wanted a big family. Like, I mean, I feel like at some point you stop if you don't want that, right?
Yeah.
So like, what was their mindset? Have they ever shared that with you? Like, just wanted to have lots of kids or wanted you to have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've asked them a couple times, and they didn't have some big philosophy around it. They were like, yeah, we just, loved each other and kept on growing a family, and wasn't more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Like, we think children are a blessing. They're exhausting and a lot, but we think they're a blessing. So we kept having more kids.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that seems good, I guess.
So do you have aspirations to have a big family one day?
Oh, not aspirations, but if we did, that would be great. Yeah. I love having 5 brothers. It's amazing. I love having 5 sisters. It's amazing. If we're blessed with that, great. If we're not, the Lord's got other things in store for us. So
yeah. Where do you fall in order of the siblings?
I'm one of the younger ones. I'm number 9. So there's 2 below and then 8 above, making that 11 total.
Cool.
So,
and what's the total age gap between the first one and the last one?
16 years.
Okay.
Total.
So, I mean, that's pretty close, really, considering 11 kids.
For 11 kids, yeah. And my mom, she's about 5'2". If you saw her, you would think she's just kind of a normal lady. She's powerhouse.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so you got into the outdoors at a young age, had a big family. When did you first realize that you were really passionate about spending time outside?
It was actually in college. In college, I was the long-haired, no shirt, no shoes hippie at the college, and just that I went to and just loved it. If there was a break, we were going on a trip. We being my friends. Whether I planned it or someone else planned it, I was in Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi for my undergraduate. And so that's striking distance of the Smokies, of the Blue Mountains, and a couple other mountain ranges that you get to from there. So in college, I really started to understand, hey, I love getting outside and I love helping other people get outside. One of the spiritual mentors that I've been around talks about nature being a greenhouse. It's a perfect environment for you to meet Jesus and become more like Jesus.
Love that.
Because he designed it and he holds it all together. So the more time you spend in it, it is a greenhouse for your soul. It's like, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I want to do more of it.
And so when you found yourself with this passion for the outdoors, were you far along in your faith at that point too?
Yeah, I was.
Or did the outdoors somewhat strengthen that? I'm curious because obviously for you to go right into that analogy of the greenhouse and Jesus, you must be a man of God, must be strong in your faith. Where did that start for you on that side of things?
Yeah, that was probably right as my relationship with Jesus was becoming my own, instead of my parents faithfully pushing me towards Jesus, saying, here's Jesus, meet him, spend time with him. That was a lot of spending time in the household, from being born to about 18 years old or so. And when I was 18, before I left the house, my dad I remember this conversation to this day. I'll remember the rest of my life. Said, "Hey, you've had 4 older brothers leave the house before you. Just know that when you leave and go to your undergraduate, and you're about to go on an event or go do something with friends down in Mississippi, you're not going to call me. Like, you're just going to make the decision. So you're now a man and you're making your own decisions.
Wow.
So make them. Know that I will always be your friend. I will always be your mentor. You can call me, but it's time for you to make your own decisions." It's like,
Wow.
yes, sir. Like, okay.
And you remember that, like, that exact conversation vividly.
Yeah, at my parents' house as an 18-year-old in the summer before I went to undergraduate. It was like, great. Okay, now I know. And it was a freeing opportunity, but also it was a weighty moment. Like, this is serious. Your faith is your own, and your life is your own. I will always be here. Call me if you ever need me. Mm-hmm. But it's you. It's like, okay, all right. So that's when at 18 it was like, okay, wow, all right. I got to start figuring out, what do I want to do? What do I love doing? And in that moment, I started spending more times out of doors. After that conversation, my eyes started opening up. Like, what do I love doing? I love being outside and helping people get outside. And in those moments, I just started hearing and experiencing Jesus and the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, more and more through creation from probably 20 to 21, to give you an exact answer. Yeah. There were some tough times in there of like, I don't think I like Jesus very much. I don't think I like the rules that you play by and the rules you set up the world. I mean, I can't change that. So, what do you do with that? Mm-hmm. I can't change how you design me. I can't change the world around me. But I still get to interact with you, and you keep telling me that you really love me and you want to spend time with me. Mm-hmm. All those questions running through as an 18, 19 to 22-year-old. And in those moments, that's when I was like, okay, I love the out of doors. I love helping people get out of doors. And didn't ever think I would launch a company in the space, but that's kind of the origin and the background.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's amazing. So let's get into the company then. Let's start there. So tell us about your company that you were just referring to, what it is, how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, the name is Zink, Z-I-N-K, Zink Lake Recreation, and we are focused on about a 20 to 25-mile stretch of water that is in and around Tulsa, Oklahoma, on the Arkansas River as it runs from Keystone Dam to Bixby, Oklahoma. There's a stretch of water that is close to a 1 million-plus population city in Tulsa, and in my opinion is severely underutilized by the city of Tulsa, and in a way that there seems some obvious opportunities to get people out on the water, and the city of Tulsa is asking for private companies to come in and help Tulsans get on the water. So about 3 years ago, just after we moved to Tulsa, city of Tulsa is talking about, hey, we're going to put $47 million or roughly so into redeveloping Zink Lake, which is a 3-mile stretch of the Arkansas River as it runs through downtown Tulsa. And so that got me excited. I was like, wow, okay, this is exciting. It's an opportunity to get out there personally. I love the water. I want to get out on the water. I want to spend time on the water. And the more time I got out there and spent time on it as the city was redeveloping that 3-mile stretch of the water, redeveloping the trails, redeveloping the banks, putting in a dock, putting in a whitewater section for Tulsans and tourists of Tulsa to enjoy, started realizing, wow, okay, there could be some opportunities to launch a business in this space. And through a couple different incubators, Greenhouse Outdoor Recreation Program in Bentonville, Arkansas, and then the Builders and Backers Accelerator Program, I started, it took about a year to go through a couple programs, started identifying a real problem that a business could solve. After about 300 interviews with Tulsans and tourists of Tulsa, it's like, hey, I think the core issue around Zink Lake and this broader, 20, 25-mile stretch of water really is logistics. People saying, it's really hard for me to park my car and move me and my equipment up and down this body of water. And so our core service is picking up people and small watercraft and dropping them off in 4 different locations. Wow. So that's the core of what we do. We're solving waterway logistics with a waterway, an Uber for kayakers is what you can think of it as. Yeah.
That's so niche, and I love it. Because how many people drive all throughout Tulsa every day and you pass the Arkansas River, and I call it the Arkansas Beach, which you might not find funny.
No, I do. That's good. That's good.
Because, very rarely do you see it just looking full and water flowing. I mean, you've got the sandy bars and beaches and you see the river winding through. But I never see anybody out on it.
Agreed. Yes. Yes.
Almost never. I mean, you see people running alongside it, walking their dogs, doing
riverside
stuff,
trails. Yeah.
Like if I didn't know any better, I wouldn't have even known the public had access to the river. In fact, I don't think I knew that until meeting you for the first time and you telling me about this.
Yeah.
So I think that's incredible that you're jumping on board with Tulsa in terms of like wanting to help people utilize that river, that stretch of river. And I guess you said you did a ton of interviews, and what made you decide like this is it? You just saw the opportunity?
Yeah. Good question. A couple different factors behind it. One is, we've talked about this, you've already mentioned it a few times, is that I'm a follower of Jesus. And as such, I believe that we're to be ambassadors of reconciliation. And a lot of people think or ask, what does that even mean? It's like, well, you were to be out representing Jesus and restoring and healing. And it's not just people. I believe that we are really, humans at their core are gardeners. We're just taking care of things.
Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus has invited us to do, not to abuse and misuse, but to ultimately make things right. And it's an honor, and you get to go do it.
Yeah.
And so for me, as I was looking at the Arkansas River, a lot of and starting to have these conversations, people are like, well, that thing is gross. It's contaminated. Holly Frontier, East and West, the two refineries that bucket, as well as PSO's power plant. There's three really energy-related plants next to it. So those things are polluting it, and you should not put people out there, and you are irresponsible for building this company, and shame on you. And it's like, wait, hold on. No. Followers of Jesus are supposed to actually be moving towards problems. We're ambassadors of reconciliation. We're supposed to be going out and healing the world around us, not running the other way.
Yeah.
People are like, well, this isn't going to make much money. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not the point of the human life. The human life is not designed to make a bunch of money, put it in a can, and then sit on the can.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the point of the human life. The point of humanity is to be ambassadors of reconciliation, these gardeners, healing and restoring. That's the core idea. That's our definition. That's the hole that we have in our system, and we are supposed to fill the hole with things like that. And so that's the core. And so as I wanted to get people on the water and then heard that there are problems with the water, my wife and I had a lot of conversations on how do you do that? So I had a lot of conversations with people who have their own outdoor recreation company saying, how do we go about this when there's a water quality issue? Do we create a 501c3, a nonprofit, and just go raise a bunch of money and, try to build some natural technologies, put grasses in the water and put some barriers on the edge of on the banks of the river to catch runoff coming in? Is that what we should do? I had a lot of conversations around this. And actually the core of what we hear from current operators in the outdoor recreation space, from Nat Geo on their research as well, is that actually if you want to preserve and heal nature, your objective should be getting more people into it. It's good to have a 501c3. It's good to raise money. It's good to develop these technologies. It's good to do all of that. But those are secondary to the primary function of conservation, which is getting people into it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the core of the first one, first reason for doing it. And then the second reason is the actual benefits of water. There's a couple different organizations that have researched this heavily and then utilized the research. Haven't just heard about it and then stopped. They're actually using it. One of them would be River Runners. They're a kayaking organization all throughout the U.S. There's a couple surfing organizations out in California. There's actually the LIBR, L-I-B-R. It's a brain research institute here in Tulsa, actually, that is actively looking at water and the benefits it has to the mind. And so they're all looking at what is the human experience like around water. And so humans are actually formed and born in water, in and around water. It's just part of our earliest memories, earliest makeup. But also they found that for post-traumatic stress disorder. If counselors are working with maybe veterans or someone else who has PTSD, they found that if they take these humans and put them into a water environment, surfing, whitewater kayaking, flat water kayaking, it triggers a similar mechanism and fires the same hormones that can heal and restore PTSD. And so in those moments, they're triggering a similar mechanism, delivering similar hormones, but they're actively counseling them through the situation.
Wow.
And healing and restoring. A lot of that data comes from Blue Mind by Wallace J. Nichols. He's done a deep dive into a bunch of the data around that. So I'm just attracted by this idea of we're born in water. If we have a bad event in our life like that would create maybe PTSD, we can be healed and restored by it. But then Gallup has done a number of different polls trying to say, if you could go anywhere in the world and just relax and heal and restore, where would it be? There was an over 90% hit rate on it being associated with either the sound of water or the direct contact and experience of water.
Wow, I've never thought of that. So I guess the same would apply like when people are stressed, you go take a bath or go take a shower, like, and it calms you down and it refreshes you. And like, you know, you always think, well, it's just because I'm clean now, but it's probably what you're referring to, right? It's just being in or around the water. I mean, does it apply in the same way? I know that's not being in water in nature, but
same
like,
way. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Very interesting.
And the most of the human makeup is water. Actually, the human body is the majority of it is water. And so we as humans are drawn to water. We are made of water. We are made from water. And we return to water to heal and restore. That's why Jesus in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels in the Bible, he talks about himself as the water.
Yeah.
Return to the water, feed from the water, restore through the water. It's something we understand because it's how he made us. He's talking to us in the way that he made us. Hey, I made you this way, so I know you're going to get what I'm saying. This is it. You're like, oh, I get it. So those are the two reasons that I wanted to build this company. There's to build conservation and to heal the water, you need to get people out there. But also when you put people on water, it actually heals them. So there's this idea of putting peanut butter in the medicine for the dog. Yeah. It's like, man, if you give them a great fun experience out there, they don't realize it, but they're actually being ambassadors of reconciliation towards the land, whether they are followers of Jesus or not. But also you're making them more like Jesus because they're healing and restoring.
Yeah.
Again, they don't know it.
Sure.
But we do.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome, man. Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time out on the water. You've got me really thinking I probably need to add it to my arsenal here of time spent in the outdoors. I do love to get out on a boat, go fishing, huge hunter. Going back to something you said about just if you get people into it, then they care about it. Same is true for hunting and conservation. Like hunters, I don't know the statistics specifically, but hunters are responsible for majority of the funds going into conservation of our public lands. And but it's because they're in it and it's because they care about it. And so like when people are trying to shut down hunters or, they're anti-hunters or joining the anti-hunting movement, like they don't understand that by fighting against hunters, they're actually working against the preservation of the animals and the environment because hunters have such a huge role in conservation efforts. On the water side of things, I think it's incredible what you're doing. And I've never thought of water. You just like blew my mind when you talked about like the healing effects of it and for PTSD. And I've never thought of it like that. And I think that what you're doing is great. And I hope that you keep pressing onward. I'm sure it's full of challenges. I can't imagine what that's like going toe to toe with some of the people in the Tulsa community that, are not, I don't know why anybody would have something against what you're doing. But anyway, all that to say, I think what you're doing is great. And if we can support you in any way in that, We definitely will. It's awesome.
This podcast is sponsored by Oklahoma Ag Credit. At Oklahoma Ag Credit, they combine ag expertise with relationship-driven service to help you finance what matters most. From equipment and land and everything in between, your loan options are built to support your operation your way. Step into any of their 17 branches or call 405-938-1700 or visit okagcredit.com.
I am curious. You talked about like your childhood, getting into the mountains. You talked about where you went to school and spending time outdoors. But like, when did water become the focal point for you? Like, when were you like, there's something here. There's something about being on the water. There's something restorative. Like, when did you really start to connect those dots?
Yeah, I don't think I really connected those dots until probably about 5 years ago.
Okay, so recently.
Yeah, recently. Yeah, I loved all things outdoor, backpacking, four-wheeling. I'm not a big hunter, but I'm becoming one, want to be.
Yeah. It's never too late to get started.
Yeah, I hope so. That's where I'm headed. So I tried everything in the outdoor space and just loved it. But my wife's family has been spending a lot of time around water for up to 5 decades, 50, 60 years. A lot of them are, or a number of them have their own sailboats and licensing to do international sailing, et cetera. And so that's just that. When I married in 6+ years ago, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I've spent time around the water. I love outdoor rec, but I don't really know how to do any of this. And so learning what it looks like to do the basics on the water, whether it's a powerboat, a self-propelled boat of some kind, or a sailboat of some kind. They're really good at all three. It's like, wow, there's something really powerful about being out on the water. We spent a lot of time down at Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma, about an hour 15 south of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Spent a lot of time out there when we first got married. My wife's been going out there her whole life. And again, she's like, yeah, one of my favorite places is just be by the water. What I was talking about earlier, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. I love being on the water. I love doing sports on the water. I love doing any of these sailing components on the water. And my wife has always talked about, like, this is like one of the most healing and restorative parts to her about, her life and rhythms is going out to the lake house and spending time by the water. So that was kind of came to a head about 5 years ago. So we bought a little sailboat. We still own it. Cool. And with my wife in med school, again, I've got a good amount of free time and I'm a very active person. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go spend a ton of time sailing. So we were, at that point, we were living in Oklahoma City, and there's a lake in the city called Lake Hefner. And so I spent a lot of time solo on Lake Hefner with a 16-foot Hobie catamaran, and it was awesome.
That's so cool.
It was so fun. And then when we moved up here for about 3.5, 4 years ago, we brought it with us to Lake Oolaga and started sailing it up there, which I love. So a lot of time by myself on the water, processing, thinking. Man, there's just something different about it. Something I love also about sailing and just being on the water is that you don't really have very much control. You start realizing the water is fully in control.
Yeah.
Especially if you get into some whitewater rapids. A lot of people think, no, I'm a man. I control everything. Or I'm a woman. I'm in the one in control. It's like you should get on a sailboat. And when the wind dies in the middle of the lake, you have no control. You're just sitting there and waiting. Or if you're in a whitewater rapids section and you have no control. It is feet up, chest up, floating down through the rapids. Yeah. And then when it eases off, you swim to the bank. There's not a whole lot more for you to do. So again, all those components started coming together. It's like, wow, I love water. And there's an opportunity to be an ambassador of reconciliation around water. Okay, let's start doing it.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I'm curious, why do you think people fear the water? Like, because it's a pretty common fear amongst humans in our society. Like, and even myself, if I'm being honest, like the idea of being in the middle of the ocean frightens me. Sure. I like water in some capacity, but there's a lot of people who are scared to death of the water. Mm-hmm. And you talked about how it's in us. We come from it. It restores us. And I know this is kind of a deep question, but like, do you think that stems from trauma? Do you think that stems from something more spiritual? Do you think that stems from just maybe not fully understanding water. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, my mind drifts to a couple of things, but the first is as humans, I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's something we struggle with is that we're always trying to control more. We want to be in control. We want to dictate, and that's kind of it's a twisted perspective on being a gardener. Mm-hmm. We can get more into that, but we want to be the kings of our own life. We are not the masters of our fate. You know, there's that phrase, people talk about that, like, I am the commander of my soul, I'm the master of my fate. Or maybe it's the other way around, but it's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true, but people want it to be. And since they want it to be, anything that takes it away from you is bad. Like, nope, don't want to be around it. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to create my whole life so I never interact with that situation. So it's a real struggle where people say, I don't like the lack of control. Sometimes it's interesting. You'll notice their hands. I'm a communications undergrad, interpersonal. So they'll talk like this. Like, I want to hold it. Like, I don't like things I can't control, instead of saying, yeah, I just kind of, this is open-handed, free. This is controlling, connecting. So when people talk about water or their fear of it, you'll see a lot of a closed posture with hands. But those who understand that life is not for them to control or to guide, control or demand, they'll talk with a little bit more of an open posture, and they may have a little bit more of interest in broader water. There could be some trauma in there. I'm not a trauma expert, not a psychologist, not a counselor. I wouldn't say that. So there's definitely probably some components of that baked in there from a young childhood or maybe even as an adult. But people who typically talk about the vastness of the ocean or a never-ending river run, whatever it may be, I tend to think of it as they want to control the environment. They want to control everything that's going on. And the reality is, most things in nature you actually can't control.
Yeah.
Only Jesus can. He guides it each and every day. So that's where my mind goes. Yeah. I don't know if that's again, I'm not an expert on a bunch of those things, but that's where my mind goes.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great response. I appreciate that. I'm curious, you're obviously unafraid to talk about your faith, and I love that. I talk all the time about how I feel closer to the Lord when I'm in the outdoors, without a doubt, I'm curious for you, because you're so strong in your faith, are there any spiritual moments that are, I would say, above the norm from your daily life that you've experienced out on the water, that you'd be willing to share? Like, have you encountered, Jesus in ways that you hadn't before being out on the water?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. One was earlier in life in Colorado. Our whole family was whitewater rafting, I think in the Browns Canyon. And it was gorgeous. It was awesome. They had a huge snowfall a couple months before. And so they were running at peak CFS, just like everything that was, if you're familiar with the rapids rating, everything was running at 3s and 4s minimum instead of like 1s, 2s, and 3s. So it was running hot. I was probably 14 years old. We had a kayaker go with us. We had a group of 6 boats packed down, guides all throughout. It was going to be a great experience. My grandpa went with me.
Oh, cool.
He was like 70. It's like, this is unreal. Grandpa's going. This is awesome. Yeah. My dad and all of my siblings, a number of cousins, and this kayaker says, hey, I'm just going to tag along so you guys can watch me. Well, he ends up dipping under a wave, hitting a rock in front of us, and then ends up passing away. It's like, wow. Whoa. And this guy was an expert. He knew what he was doing, but he went out there, and at the end of the day, you can't control everything around you. So as a young person, it's like, wow, this is a significant event. And once we took his body, we took his kayak, brought it down river, got it to his family, et cetera. Got him to emergency services, et cetera. But my grandpa just started talking about the reality of death and praying for this guy, talking to people in the group. And that was an early experience of, here's the power of water, and sometimes it generates death, and this is how you engage and interact with it. It's like, wow, I'm seeing my grandpa talk about Jesus, but I'm seeing that, wow, I cannot control anything in and around water. This is remarkable. So that was huge. Spent some time. I got to spend like a month down in Brazil in college, which was awesome. They have unbelievable rivers and waterfalls down there. And the psychologist who worked on Inside Out, if you know that movie, he talks about that the core idea or the core component of the human experience is awe. And he's not a follower of Jesus, but just being amazed at the things around you. And so I remember that as a college student in Brazil, like these waterfalls and rivers, these are unreal.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. Like just truly stunning. And I didn't create any of these. These will be gone, or these will be here long after I am gone. And they were here long before I was here. Like, so you're, Flannery O'Connor, who's a writer, talks about how one of the fruits of self-inspection or understanding yourself is humility. And so being around water, you're humbled.
Yes.
It's like, wow, this is unreal. And then a third experience that comes to mind is actually on frozen water. My wife and I went skiing with her family a few years ago, and I was skiing by myself on the backside of Crested Butte in Colorado. It was a gorgeous morning, 0 degrees, by myself after a great run. And in that moment, I was praying to Jesus about a lot of the business stuff we were trying to do with outdoor recreation and water. And Jesus said, hey, I just want you to heal my waters. I was like, Jesus, I have no idea how to do that. I don't even know where to start or what to do. He's like, that's okay. I'm gonna give you resources and give you someone. Like, it's good. We're good. Like, okay. So you just want me to go? Yep. All right. So those are some of the experiences I've had around water that it's like, this stuff's awesome.
Yeah. And so you had that last story there. You hadn't started the business yet at that point?
We were just in
Or
3 years
thinking
ago
about
and
it.
just thinking and doing interviews, truly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, early January 2023.
And so then you ramp things up after that experience.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so earlier you were talking about, and just now, healing the water. What your company specifically, you're transporting people to the water, but you said earlier that you went back and forth for a long time about just like trying to enhance water quality and to do things for the water in that way. Do you see there being like a second branch of your business where it becomes more than the transportation, and then you really focus more also on healing our waters, and maybe not just in the Tulsa area, but all across Oklahoma?
Come on, dude.
Maybe
Yeah, come on.
further. Like,
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
where's the vision
Yeah.
for the future? Or are you just like enjoying where things are at? I'm curious about all that.
Yeah, I am a creative. If you know Enneagram, I'm a number 4. I'm an ENFJ if you do Myers-Briggs. So there's maybe some helpful information to people. But I am a creative at heart. But I've seen that when creatives get a little out over their skis, they actually don't end up doing anything. They just end up talking about cool ideas. So I want to dream and vision. And I'll talk about that. But at first, I know that the start is this. Whether it works or not, I don't know. That's not what Jesus asked me to do. He didn't say, build a great company. It's like, heal my water. It's like, all right, we're starting here. So to answer your question is, we're starting here, and we're going to do blocking and tackling a business. Good finances, good service, good marketing, good people skills, and rinse and repeat every day. Just being a good business owner. But yeah, there's actually a couple different components that I'm really interested by. One of them is, I mentioned it earlier, but it's described as natural technologies. It is how waterways have healed and restored themselves because Jesus built it that way. That's how he designed the world to work. And so you've got different grasses, different ways that the river can flow, different barriers that you might be able to line the river with that can actually filter what is entering the waterway. You might think of waterways as your arteries. They move things around the world. That's water moves minerals and nutrients around the world. The Arkansas River is a prairie river. That's its technical definition. So it is moving a lot of silt and sand and dirt. So people always are like, wow, why can't the Arkansas River be cleaner? It's like, well, it's not what it's designed to do. Like it moves a lot of things.
Yeah.
So you got to be okay with that component. So there's some things to be thinking about there on, okay, how do we introduce natural technologies that are beneficial to the Arkansas River? So that's another service we want to do. Also thinking about maybe introducing like AI drones who can hover over the river, identify trash, and pick it out.
Wow.
It's like simple things that we've actually have the tools for now. That maybe you just do a 7 a.m. run of 20 drones over a 25-mile stretch of the river, and it just identifies trash, picks it up, drops it into the already existing city infrastructure of waste. And now you've got a really clean river.
Yeah.
instead of, shopping carts floating down the Arkansas River, which is what we have right now.
Right. Or what was it, a couple years ago? There was all the tires.
Yes,
Where
tires.
I don't even know where those.
Where
came
did they come from? Yeah. It's like who put that there?
Yeah, they were everywhere.
It's
I remember
wild.
that.
So, yeah.
And then like the Arkansas, how important is it that you take care of Keystone Lake first?
Essential. Yeah. So now you're starting to say, okay, do we have to go all the way back to Leadville, Colorado, which is the headwaters of the Arkansas River? Like, oh wow, we got a lot of work to do, which is awesome. It's like, there's no shortage of work.
I love that analogy that you use of the arteries. I never thought about it like that, but how intricate our rivers and waterway systems are throughout the country, and how each one of them has a different purpose for moving water or filtering the water. That's just a really cool example, and it to me, it's a subtle reminder of like how amazing our God is, just designing all this. You know
awesome.
What I mean?
Yeah,
it's so cool. And so, what's your opinion? You've got the Corps of Engineers, and you've got all these people who are redesigning our water systems to accommodate human life. You feel like, what's your opinion on like messing with these systems to accommodate society?
Yeah. It's a good question. I think of Corps of Engineers and maybe some other groups around the Corps of Engineers more as doctors. If you have a blocked artery, what do? Well, you have a bypass surgery, and you keep on going. It's to accommodate your lifestyle and to keep you living. And so if you think about the Corps of Engineers like that perspective, they're trying to keep people alive. They're trying to keep this river flowing, moving. That's why I believe there's only one undammed river in the state of Oklahoma. It's like kind of remarkable.
Yeah, it really is.
I think there's only one in Arkansas, the Buffalo River, the only undammed free-flowing river in the entire state. Other than that, there's a controlled system all the way from the headwaters all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Everything's trying to be controlled and tiered. Okay, they're trying to keep people safe. They're trying to ensure that our crops don't get flooded and destroyed. They're trying to ensure good quality, or I don't know how to say it properly, but fish quality.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say that. I would defer to you on that. So they've got a number of competing requests from people, federal government, et cetera. So I think they're going to be wrong in any situation, because one of those groups is going to be at the lower on the tier for whatever they decide. So they have got a tough job, but I see them more as doctors trying to heal or take care of people as best they can. So it's a tough job.
Man, isn't that so interesting in life, how we're all competing for the same natural resources, and then when you factor in different demographics of people who come from different lifestyles with different priorities and different interests, like at the end of the day, we're all competing against one another for the resources that God created for us. And it is unfortunate that somebody always has to feel like they're losing, like what you're referring to earlier, when you're trying to serve multiple different, groups of people. Somebody's going to feel like they got the short end of the stick. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just feel like water in particular, it's not something that I think about every day. Like, okay, you've got the Corps of Engineers who wants to do this, and it's for these people. And then you've got Creed over here who just wants to be able to introduce people to this little stretch of the Arkansas River, and you've got this lady over here that thinks Creed's crazy for putting people on contaminated waters. And like, I don't know, the older I get, I guess the more fascinated I am by people and the inner workings of different people. And I never thought about it in terms of our natural resources is really probably the thing that most people are competing for. I don't know if you've heard about like all the recent hoopla with the public lands and like the United States government wanting to sell off some of the public lands.
Yes. Yeah.
Hunters all across the country were, there was an uproar, because they value our public lands and we don't want to lose those. And I really feel like it's a slippery slope. Once you start losing those, where do they stop, until they've privatized all of our natural resources that you and I go to enjoy, Anyways, I'm rambling, but you just got my brain in deep thought, man.
No, I love it. I love it.
I'm just like looking at things through a totally different lens.
Which I love. And that's got, a couple, that leads me to a couple other things that we're thinking about as well is a lot of how you're talking about the Corps of Engineers, their different priorities. Well, you've also got boat makers. I know this is a totally different topic, but it's very real. Boat makers have different priorities. Some say, hey, we want to have the fastest boat we can. Some want to have the best looking boat. Some want to have the boat that can help you fish the best. They have different priorities. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I found a boat company that says, actually, our priority is healing and restoring the water that the boat is going on. If you look at the kind of chemicals that are put on the bottom of the boat, whether it's the wax seal, whether it's the framing of the boat, whether it's the fibers that go onto the boat, whatever it is, there's multiple layers before you can get to the foam. There's a lot going on there. And you see how they build it. They actually have to wear hazmat suit, masks. Like you need to be in a shop that has airflow coming through it. You do not want to touch this stuff. It is going to mess you up. But where are you putting that on water? And it's going into the water. And it's causing all these kind of problems on the water. But you're already saying that it's really bad for humans in this situation. And it dries. But then you crack it off and it dissolves into the water.
Okay, you're blowing my mind again here.
Right.
So
Well,
is there data out there that shows that the number of boats on the water is actively contaminating the water? And we're not just talking about like the motors and exhaust. And
no, not yeah. That's a totally different topic. Yeah, but
we're talking about the boats.
You're talking about the boats themselves. You're talking about just the wax. Like I put wax on my sailboat. It has no motor, and I feel bad every time I put wax on there. But it helps the boat. But it's like, man, this wax is going into here. This wax was never really meant to be in this water. It was not designed to go in Lake Oologah, Oklahoma. It was designed a long ways from here, produced a long ways from here, but it's put into this body of water, and it does not operate well here. And it affects the pH and a number of different factors in it, to where I don't really eat any of the fish that comes out of Oklahoma. It's like I just get a little concerned about any fish.
No kidding.
I'm sure there's some situations where it's just fine, but I just am concerned about all the stuff we're putting into the water, and then the animals that are eating it, and then eating that. So again, I'm not a hunter, but yeah, there's some pretty compelling data that I've been reading around the different types of things that are being chipped off or just naturally come off of boats as they're just being used, that are entering the water systems and then causing it. But mind you, most of these products are only 50 years old. So if you talk to a boat owner, they're going to say, oh, no, there's no problems. We've been doing it for 50 years. I'm like, well, that's not really that much data.
Yeah.
It's not really that helpful. So there are some early signs, but also that's an argument against me. Well, Creed, there's not that much data. I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm just thinking of it from a theory is you'd think all the harsh chemicals we're putting into the water might end up being a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I would
so
say.
I want to create some kind of wax and some boat building products that actually, when they enter the water stream, they improve the water quality.
Wow.
So
is anybody doing anything like that?
Not that I found, but it's going to take a lot of research and a lot of work. So my friend's like, well, if you develop it, then someone's just going to steal your formula and they're going to go build it. I'm like, great. They're ambassadors of reconciliation by just trying to compete to me.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, let's be what Jesus talks about. Hey, let's be, sly as foxes and wise as serpents. Like, hey, I'm going to build something that you want to compete against. And when you build it, actually you're helping me do what we're supposed to be doing, being gardeners.
What a beautiful mindset you have. I'll say that. Like, I feel like there's a very small percentage of people out there, especially when it comes to business, who think the way you think. I can't even say that I think the way you think. That is extremely noble to me, to think that you could create something proprietary and nothing would bring you more joy than other people doing the same
riff
thing
off
you're
me,
doing
please. Please do it.
To better impact our waters. That's incredible, man. That says a lot.
I'm hoping there's another shuttle company that starts up or more rental companies. I'm like, yes, that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, more people. Let's get more people on the water. Let's get way more people. Like, this is awesome.
Cool. That's amazing. I love that. So you guys are getting ready to ramp up, probably.
We're actively.
It's getting warm. We already had a day in the 80s.
Yeah, in February.
I'm not super excited about it. I like my hoodie weather. I don't want to go right to summer. But I bet that excites you.
Yeah.
And so where do things, or when do things rather, really kick off for you guys?
Yeah, Oklahoma, most paddlers, for reason, we work with just paddlers, people who are self-propelled kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, canoes. Really, we tried to kick off early last year, didn't get the momentum we wanted. Had a couple pop-up weekends. I think we're really going to push for Memorial Day. Memorial Day to Labor Day is when most people want to get out on the water. Water's hitting the high 60s, maybe on a good day, low 70s, and it's finally attractive for people to get out on. So that's when we'll start launching is Memorial Day 2026. So right now we're finding vans, finding drivers, trying to extend the route, improve the route, and then it's just marketing and sales, just business, blocking and tackling a business.
Very cool. So if somebody wants to learn more about your services, or maybe see that route you were just referring to, like, do you have a website?
Yep.
Okay.
Zinc Lake Recreation. If you scroll towards the bottom, shout out to my wife. She built most of my website. You'll be able to find the actual route, different locations. City of Tulsa actually has boat ramps already on the Arkansas River in multiple locations with parking lots and roads to the parking lots. So the infrastructure's there, and you can see it on our website. You can scroll in. We like to drop people off at Gathering Place if they want to get in the Tulsa Wave Park where the whitewater rafting is. And then we'll run up to Keystone Dam and then come back down to the north end of Zinc Lake. Digora is the restaurant there. 17th and Riverside is the actual location. Big series of parking lots. So we got those 3 spots. I know I've mentioned 4. Actually, we would love to pick people up in Bixby so that if people went from Keystone Dam all the way down to Bixby, they would have a pickup or a drop off. Okay. Think of it maybe as ski runs where you're like, hey, I want to do the lower portion of the Arkansas or the middle or the upper. Well, we can pick you up or drop you off in any of those locations. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to make.
Well, we'll have to post a link to your website.
Please.
That way people can see, because, man, I hope it's a extremely successful year for you. And obviously, not in terms of growing the business, but in terms of something deeper, healing our waters, healing people. Really, really just excited to see where this goes for you.
Thanks.
I think it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Hey guys, this podcast is sponsored by Arrowhead Land Company. Their mission is to create, inspire, or advance connection to the land in every person throughout the world and empower every person to pursue a better life through the freedom that comes from land ownership. These guys are the best of the best in the rural real estate business. If you need help buying or selling a farm, ranch, country home, anything that could be considered the rural lifestyle, give Arrowhead Land Company a call. I feel like we have to touch on this before we close here, but let's talk about water safety for a minute, because we haven't really touched on that. We've talked about, not being in control of our lives. There is a greater power who dictates what happens to us, that being Jesus. But how do we keep ourselves safe on the water? To anybody listening to this, I don't think that either one of us is recommending that you just go out onto the Arkansas River without any experience, without the right equipment, whatever the water is local to you. Water can kill people, and you have to be proactive about safety. So what would you tell people about water safety?
Yeah, the key concept is that water does not care about you. Water is going to do what it's going to do. It is not going to defer to you, whether it's on the whitewater or if there's some kind of current shift or whether there's some log under the water that you do not know about. It does not care if you hit it and get trapped. I think that's an important concept. So you have to be actively looking out for all those different situations. Is the water still? Is the water rippling? Is there some kind of white water on top of it? That is indicative of something going on underneath it. Is the water slanting in? Is the water slanting out? It's telling you whether you're approaching a narrow path between a couple different rocks. If it's slanting in, if it's expanding out, you know that you're coming out of some kind of pinch in the river. And those are all indicative of currents that you may not be able to control. I am not a safety expert, so I'm going to defer to safety experts out there. But you need to be watching what's going on top of the water because it's indicative of what's going on under the water. You need to assume that the water does not care about you. It is not there to help you have a fun day. But if you are careful and cautious, you can have a great and fun day. A couple different things is you need to triple check the equipment that you have with you, one being your watercraft, whether it's a canoe or a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard. ensure that if it's inflatable, a lot of people around here use inflatables. That's great. Make sure your valves are properly working. Make sure that you don't have any holes. Make sure that you bring a patch kit with you that's appropriate for the water. Wear your personal flotation device. I know a lot of people are going like, it's a life jacket, just throw it in the boat. I've been in a couple situations where if I didn't have my life jacket, it'd be pretty hairy and I may not be here. Like, you really need to have your PFD on. Have a great paddle. Maybe wear gloves. A lot of people don't think about that. When you get in the water, your hands get real soft. Your skin starts coming off. I maybe wear some gloves with you. Definitely wear some sunscreen. Bring probably 2 to 3 times more water than you think. You're going to be shedding a bunch of water out on the water. The water is actually reflective, and so it'll catch you underneath and under your arms and just be burning off a lot of moisture. So bring more water than you think. Bring sunscreen. Wear a hat. I love to have these kind of these fishing hoodies on.
Yeah.
I put my hood on, hat on, glasses. I try not to expose much skin. Avoid super choppy waters. Calm water's great. If you can, if you're trying to pull off on one of the banks here on the Arkansas River, there's a bunch of sandy banks and it's awesome. You can have a great day out there. Maybe inspect it with your paddle before. If you can't see where you're putting your foot, you don't know what's there. And so be expecting the worst. There's thankfully not a strong current necessarily on the Arkansas River, so you're not always concerned about being swept off your feet. But those would be some items. Maybe be thinking if it's a little bit more sunny outside on the beach, there may be a snake sunning on the beach.
Yeah.
So maybe be a little more cautious as you're approaching it. Those would probably be 5 to 8 things that are very practical.
Perfect.
That you can do as you approach it. And if you do that, we're about 3 things. We're about being safe. And if you're being safe, you're probably having fun. And if you're having fun, it's probably going to be memorable. Yeah. Those are our 3 things: safe, fun, memorable.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, I think it's no secret you're tied to the land, but specifically the water that flows through our lands. Yeah. And I'm just super thankful for this time with you. My eyes have been opened, brother. Like, even from the first time we talked, I feel like you maybe just scratched the surface. Like, I don't know, there's probably a part of you that like controls that when you're meeting someone for the first time. You know what I mean?
Limit. My wife's told me that. She's like, just a little less.
A little less.
Wait till they ask for more. Okay.
Yeah. So I love what you're doing. I'm super pumped for you. I wish you all the best. Thank you for coming in today. Anybody real quick you want to give a shout out to, mentors, your wife, whoever's got you this far? Like, I love being able to share the love, spread the love. Who do you have to thank?
Man, a number of people. My wife, Faith Hendrickson, she's unbelievable. She's in med school, but she is a powerhouse of a woman and an amazing woman to be married to. She's amazing. A gentleman by the name of Brent Allen down in Oklahoma City. He's helped in a number of different water projects around Oklahoma, but also in California. He's been amazing. My wife's uncle, who's been a mentor to me, Lance Humphreys. My dad, Tim Hendrickson, just both amazing men. And then a couple different incubators and startups here in the region. Greenhouse Outdoor Recreation Program, GORP. It is an incubator out of the University of Arkansas. They do a lot of their training in Bentonville over about a 2-month period. They accept business ideas or business formation concepts, and then they'll take you through a couple-month program to actually bring it to life. So that's what helped bring our company to life. And then we did an accelerator after that. Everything came to life in GORP, and then we applied to Builders and Backers, which is a nationwide accelerator. And they really helped us get going and actually have some trial runs last year, which was huge. So that would be a whole bucket of people, but we wouldn't be here today without them.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And one more time for everybody listening, what is the name of your company?
Zink, Z-I-N-K, Zink Lake Recreation. You can find it online on Google and see our services, see our routes, reach out to me via email or phone, listed there on the website.
All right, right on. Well, this is the Todd to the Land podcast. My name's Andrew Schultz. This is Creed Hendrickson. Creed, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it. Until next time, guys. We'll see you then.